buy again.
So that time you go to work?
I go to work.
You leave from your working place, you come to the man?
Yeah, I'm from to my working area to Clarence to now go to the man.
To go steal now?
No, I'm not go steal. I go steal. I go to yeah. How you question me, man? The thing you want for me to explain for you to understand, then still questioning me, doubling the question. How many talk clear now?
Okay, let's go now. I beg you, sorry.
I see.
When they call you in the night now.
When the man come in the night.
Yeah.
He asked me, say, how many of you are working to the area? I say, we are 3.
I don't know whether I'll be here for that discussion, but I'll make my position clear, whether or not.
But Andrew Peter, you're not sick. You're not as sick as you say it, man.
It's in my body. You see that video? You see the video?
But I saw
do you know my age?
I saw the man only holding you on your waist and pulling you back.
No, you know what happened when I was thrown at the back closer to the VP?
No,
I was almost like they murdered me.
I don't murder you.
They murdered me. I'm telling you.
But
I have to go to hospital.
When they murder people, they're not strong.
I have to go to hospital.
The people pull you back. They didn't really brutalize you.
Oh, sure.
Wow, how? Because the video I saw, you grab you by your waist.
But they hit me, not grab. The person that held that share was one of the parties, but the guy intention was to really damage me, which I have resolved. Today, my lawyer is ready the American embassy.
To do what?
We are ready the human rights.
Party coming to
you talking about health, human rights violation. That was a gross human rights violation and a misuse of power.
You want to go abroad for treatment?
That was a misuse of power.
You want to go abroad for treatment?
Not going abroad.
Okay.
I will make sure that
How do you give yourself more time? The best way to do that is to start very early. What needs to be finished a month from now? Get it going on today. Rushing at the last minute is inefficient and riddled with anxiety. Save yourself the aggravation and get it done early. It is a whole lot better to be wondering what to do than to be sweating over whether you will have enough time. Planning out in advance to ensure plenty of time in your favor. It is true you can't anticipate everything. That's all the more reasons for getting early. Start on what you can anticipate. If it will need to be done eventually, it's probably best to do it the right way. Reduce the drama and increase your effectiveness by starting early. I love the ending. Reduce the drama, increase your effectiveness by starting early. This one is by the daily motivator Ralph Mustin. My name is Trokon Wrepue. This is the conversation right there on OKFM 99.5. The lead host of the show, Julius J, will say the biggest thing on radio anywhere in the country, unaccurately. And I dare say the best thing that has happened to Liberia is the OK conversation. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Refugee County Senator Francis Dopo will be here. Plenty of things to talk about, including several bills at the legislature, their importance, what do we expect. We look deep into the Senate. 5 p.m. we gave time to the CDC Youth League. During the course of the week, they had a press conference with a lot of allegations against the government. We will be asking them for proof. The Youth League will be represented by its chairman, Emmanuel Moba Johnson, as the citizenship of the program. This is where we go next on the conversation, right here on OKFM 99.5. The family of Zambia's former president Edgar Lungu says he will be buried in South Africa in the private ceremony and following the row with the government over the funeral arrangements. Amen. Late on Thursday, President Hakainde Hichilema cut short a period of national mourning after Lungu's family refused to allow his body to be repatriated from South Africa as planned. His funeral had been set for this Sunday in Zambia's capital, Lusaka. The family now says it will announce later when Lungu will be buried in Johannesburg in dignity and peace. It will be the first time a former head of state of another country is buried in South Africa. Niger's military junta says it will nationalize the majority French-owned local uranium company in the latest escalation in the war between the two countries. Somalia is operated by French nuclear forward company Orano, which Niger accuses of several irresponsible acts. Since seizing power in 2023, Niger's military leaders have said they want to keep more local control of the country's mineral wealth and have distanced themselves from France, a former colonial power moving closer to Russia. Niger is the world's 7th largest producer of uranium and has the largest grade ores in Africa. A training camp for the Senegalese women basketball team in the U.S. has been scrapped, with the West African nation's prime minister saying he cancelled it because some of the squad were denied U.S. visas. Prime Minister Ousmane Sango said the team will now train in Senegal's capital, Dakar, in a sovereign and conducive setting. It comes amid reports that the U.S. plans to impose fresh travel restrictions on 25 more African countries, including Senegal. Earlier this month, the U.S. announced a ban on citizens from 12 countries, including 7 from Africa. There are also partial travel restrictions on nationals from a further 7 countries, with 3 from Africa. Go for a break. We'll be right back. After the break, a lot to talk about. 4 o'clock, we anticipate the arrival of Senator Francis Dopo of Wrepue County. 5 p.m., the Radical Youth League of the CDC will be given an opportunity to share the platform with us. Don't you go anywhere.
Rushing. Why are you rushing also?
You, Judy, don't give me hard time, man. I'm going to the bank to get my cash because the bank was so close.
You can use the ATM?
My ATM card expired ever since.
My man, you don't need ATM card. Just use the mobile app and generate an e-token. All you have to do is to just log on the app. You click on Express Cash. Then you select ATM. From there now you select Generate e-token. Then you select the account you want the money to come from. From there you select the currency that you want. If they're Liberian dollars or US dollars. Then you put in the amount that you want, whether $10 or $20, you put it in and you generate your e-token. It's simple, like 8 numbers that will come to you. When you get that number, just go to any ATM name. All you have to do is to just select the C Express Cash on the ATM now. The place where you're supposed to put your ATM pin, that way you pull that 8 number. Then it will ask you for the amount. That money where you generated, that money will come on the ATM will pay you.
So simple. Echo Finance for me again. Oh, I will always make use of the Express service big time. Echo Bank, the Pan-African Bank.
Your favorite RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas is new and improved with top-notch first-class services guaranteed to make you feel pampered and special as our royal guests. Ideally located on the RI Highway, a few minutes drive from the rehab junction, right in front of the Atlantic Ocean, you are assured of a peaceful, serene atmosphere of a home away from home. The ingredients for our Liberian meals are freshly picked from our garden to give you that unforgettable taste of Liberian cuisine. Our villas are designed and equipped to ensure every night spent with us is a memorable one. We are well positioned to host conferences and seminars of all sizes, as well as outdoor events like garden weddings and parties. Book your upcoming events and leave the rest for us to handle with 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can reach us on 0770-533-415 or email us at reservations@kendejaresort.com.lr. Visit our website on www.rljkendejaresort.com.lr. RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas, for memories worth repeating.
Many Liberians suffer silently. Many more live with sickle cell disease. But on June 19, we break the silence. Hosted by the Camara Sickle Cell Project and MTS Sickle Cell Foundation in partnership with Sickle Cell Association of Liberia. It's Liberia's first ever sickle cell awareness webinar live on Facebook. Stop the stigma. No, it's not witchcraft. It's time to understand. Hear real stories from warriors, a caregiver, a clinician, an advocate. Learn how to love, how to support, how to stand. With this year's theme, Global Action, Local Impact, we are reminded progress begins where we are. Better health care, early diagnosis, stronger advocacy. The time is now. Join the movement. Stand with the warriors. Honor the fighters. Spread the word. On June 19, make sickle cell visible. Join the webinar live on the MTS Facebook page from 4:30 GMT to 6.
Attention, attention, attention to all lovers of the good things in life. A house is not a home, and a home is the one place where you should feel relaxed and accomplished. Your home should reflect who you are. So, it's time to make that upgrade with minimal damage to your pockets. And I have the perfect solution for you. Home Sweet Home, located on Benson Street, between Center and Buchanan Streets, got you covered. From the kitchen, we have air fryers, juice makers, pressure cookers, freezers of all sizes, and all the modern kitchenwares you can think about. From the bedroom, we have top-of-the-line, exquisite beddings to give you that great night's sleep because you have earned it, and soft, comfortable towels for your bathroom. And in the living room, we have high-definition TV sets of all sizes, unique aerial rugs, classy curtains in all the colors you desire, wall paintings of different sizes and colors, furniture, and everything you can think about for the home. All that at unbelievable prices. We even have low voltage, high quality washing machines and dryers to keep your clothes fresh and new at all times. As a bonus, we have fashion accessories for both the young and the old, designer quality bags, hats, and rare jewelries. So if you love yourself, your family, and your home, it's time to treat it right. Visit Home Sweet Home on Benson Street between Center and Buchanan Streets for that needed upgrade. Or you can call them on 0886-834-944 or 0770-581-420. Home Sweet Home, for the love of a classy home.
Good day and welcome to the Fact Check segment. This segment debunks disinformation and provides the verified facts to counter statements made online and on the radio. A Facebook user, Wrepue Dennis, claimed on June 17 in a Facebook group The Costa showed that the National Identification Card was introduced during the administration of former President George Weah. Dennis made this claim while comparing some of the achievements of former Presidents Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and George Weah to those of the current President Joseph Newman Boakai. To verify this claim, we reviewed the National Identification Registry website, which confirms that the institution was created by an act of the National Legislature in 2011. We also found the document being published by the Citizenship Rights in Africa Initiative titled An Act to Repeal PRC Decree No. 65, establishing the National Identification Card System and to establish in lieu thereof the National Identification Registry of 2011. We also contacted the NIR's head of communications, Daniel Sakwi, who confirmed via WhatsApp that the idea of a national identification card system dates back to 1983 when the People's Redemption Council government under President Samuel Doe issued Decree No. 65 establishing Liberia's first attempt at a national ID system. That initiative led to the issuance of ID cards in 1987, but the program was short-lived. Decree No. 65 was eventually repealed and replaced with the 2011 Act under President Sirleaf, which established the current National Identification Registry and ID system, which was approved on August 1, 2011. Based on the research conducted, we conclude that Dennis's claim that Liberia's national identification card was introduced during the administration of former President George Weah is misleading. On June 19, Representative Mwemwa Briggs Mensah claimed on the OK Morning Watch that for the first time, ECOWAS has a female Speaker of the Parliament. Representative Mensah made this claim while discussing the structure of the Parliament and her role as a member of the Liberian delegation and a subcommittee member at the Parliament. To verify this claim, we searched and found a May 23, 2024 publication on the election of Honorable Memunatu Ibrahiman of Togo as Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament in Kano, Nigeria. We found another publication on the ECOWAS Parliament's website regarding Speaker Ibrahiman's election as the first time a female has held the post since the establishment of the parliament in 2000. Based on this fact, we conclude that Representative Mwemwa Briggs Mensah's claim that for the first time the ECOWAS Parliament has a female speaker is correct. Publications found on the ECOWAS Parliament's website and other news agencies revealed that the current Speaker of the Parliament is the first female to hold the post since 2000. This is all we have time for on the Fact Check segment. This segment is part of an MOU between Local Voices Liberia, OKFM, Pram FM, and Kia Radio to counter disinformation to help the public make informed decisions. This MOU is funded by the Liberia Media Empowerment Project, implemented by Internews with funding from the European Union. The funder or partner had no say in the editorial decision, leading to the production of this Fact Check segment. We will be back on Monday with more Fact Check reports to help you know the facts. If you want us to fact check or claim for you, please send us a text or WhatsApp on 0777 556 296 and we will definitely check for you. Also follow us on Facebook at Local Voices Liberia, Twitter or X at LVL Fact Check, and go to our website www.localvoicesliberia.com. My name is Olivia Bowen. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you to the team there at Local Voices Liberia. And it is good to have an informed society, a society free of mis and disinformation. Remember, misinformation is dangerous to any flagging democracy like ours. So it is good to have the fast checkers around and the partnership with it. So as we move forward today, we will end the reading of the report from the Civil Service Agency to the Liberian Senate on the analysis of the work permits issued, and of course where we are with the work permits of foreigners and the ones that Liberians should have. And there's a whole breakdown here. I read this the first time and I stopped to page 8. So there's a graph on page 9 we talk about. We'll start from page 9 and then page 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then page 14. There where the conclusion of this report is. The reason for which we continue to stress on this issue about the work permit, the Ministry of Labor versus the Liberian Senate, it is because job security in our country has been a disaster in recent years, or since the end of our civil conflict. I was not around in the 80s, in the 70s or in the 60s to know exactly what was happening here. But history tells us that around the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, there was some improvement. And that's what we know, and that's what we've read. The civil conflict will come, and then today we find ourselves where we are. So that duty, we have that patriotic duty to speak to some of these issues. We are not here to tell you who's wrong and who's right, but following the presentation before the Liberian Senate by Councillor Kopokra, coming down to the expert analysis provided by the Civil Service Agency and the Senate questions, the concerns, you can look between and tell exactly what has been happening and what is happening. Again, before that, the issue about the national ID card is still a big problem. It is because as the deadline draws closer, there are still challenges. There are still hurdles the people face in obtaining the national ID card. And we think it is something the government should give urgent attention to. We need to give it an urgent attention. It is not a bad thing that people will, or the government will say, let us get enrolled into the national identification system, because all of us know it is the responsibility of the government to do what it is doing. It is also in the interest of us in the country, so that we know we have a database of our citizens, we have them in the categories, we know exactly who is who, and it also has to do with our own security. But it is fair enough that as a country, we make it convenient so that we attract a lot of people. Because if we do not do so, we might not attract the number of people that we will want to attract. So that is that for the identification registry. I know Mr. Andrew Peters was before the Senate on yesterday. Before the House of Representatives. He was questioned, he was grilled, and so on and so forth. And you listen to some of the responses. And before we come to this report, yesterday, Police RG Gregory Coleman was at MEGA press briefing, and on behalf of his institution, denied the allegations that they attempted bribing Mr. John Yanti, one of the key suspects in the alleged capital arson case. So he denied that, and Mr. John Yanti said there were top security figures and government officials who had visited him to where he was staying when the government brought him to country from, what's the country? Ghana. And they attempted to bribe him, to give him money to testify falsely, he said. So the police said, no, you lied on us. And if Mr. John Yanti or his family, because I know the family joined the CDC Youth League during a press conference and they made all kinds of revelations against the government. So if they have the proof, they can let us know. They can share with the public. But the police says it did not do what it's being accused for. And Mr. John Yanti said they did. How do we verify it? So we'll push further. But let's come to this one. It says eligibility check of gratics. Remember, we named the 3 sets of work permits. The permits in the reserve, the permits in open job, and the permits in gratics and all of those. So we come to the analysis, and this is what a civil service agency said. It says analysis and classification by skilled level and nationality eligibility. To provide a clearer picture of employment patterns, the issued permits have been classified into 2 main categories based on the nature of the jobs and the eligibility criteria for Liberian and non-Liberian nationals. 5.1 of the report says job reserved for Liberian nationals. And I would love all of you listening to pay key attention to this portion of the report. Job what? Reserved for Liberian nationals. Definition. These roles are designated exclusively. Let's say inclusive. Exclusively for Liberian citizens across all skill levels, including unskilled, skilled, and highly skilled positions. The underlying principle is that the skills required for these roles are readily attainable through local education, vocational training, apprenticeships, and accumulated work experience within Liberia. Permits issued in reserve jobs. A total of 7,032 permits were issued. Regular permits constitute 6,156. ECOWAS permit constitute 3,114. Gratics permit constitute 5,000. That's 562. We come to the analysis. The further 7,032 work permits were issued to foreign nationals for roles explicitly designed for Liberians reserved for Liberian nationals is a matter of grave concern. Trokon saying this, it is the CSE through its analysis. This figure represents approximately 69.5%. So imagine if the 7,032 jobs permit issue to foreigners that should be reserved or that is reserved for Liberians, if these 7,000 plus jobs were given to Liberians, 7,032 jobs were given to Liberians, it means we have 7,032 Liberians on job, and each of those employee or Liberian on job will be able to cater to a family of 10. Calculate that and know how many persons who have survived. But per this analysis, we chose to give it out. For what reason, we are yet to know, but let's continue. This raises fundamental questions about the efficiency of the no suitability qualified Liberian available assessment and the overall enforcement mechanisms. 5.2 says, job open for all Liberians and non-Liberians. Listen to this one. Definition in this category, this category encompasses jobs that are often to both Liberian and Liberian citizens and foreign nationals. These roles typically required hard specialized skill sets unique expertise, and fundamental leadership capabilities that may not be widely available within the Liberian labor market. This category also includes critical leadership positions such as business owners, funders, co-funders, shareholders, chief executive officers, county directors, and county representatives. Permit issued in open jobs, the total 3,072 of them. Regular job permit constitute 2,636. ECOWAS permit 1,020, that's 124. Gratis permit 311, primarily for roles within NGOs, often requiring specialized expertise. Specialized expertise in development or humanitarian aid. Analysis. While it is expected that foreign nationals will fill some of the roles in this category due to genuine skills gaps for strategic leadership requirement, continuous monitoring is necessary to ensure that these positions are not used as a loophole to circumvent the employment of qualified Liberians. The portion of gratis permits in this category for NGO suggests a recognition of a specialized nature of some Liberian humanitarian works. Analysis of findings and implication. The data presented in this report highlights a critical challenge to the spirit and letter of Liberia's labor laws. 6.1 says, undermining Liberianization policy. The issuance of 7,032 work permits for jobs reserved for Liberian directly undermines the Ministry of Labor's statutory obligation under Chapter 45.1, Section C of the Decent Work Act. This suggests that the process of determining the unavailability of suitably qualified Liberians may be insufficient and or inadequately enforced. Increased unemployment and unemployment among Liberians. A sustaining flux of foreign labor into our sector where Liberian skills are available is exacerbating unemployment and underemployment rate among the local population. This not only impacts individuals' livelihoods but also constrains national economic development by limiting the full utilization of the domestic workforce. 6.3 says, disincentive for local skilled employee. If employers can easily secure work permits for foreign nationals for jobs that Liberians can perform, there is less incentive for Liberian or for businesses to invest in training and developing local talent. This creates a cycle of dependency on foreign labor rather than building a robust and self-reliant Liberian workforce. Potential for wages and depression. That's a 6.4. Although the report does not include a detailed wage analysis, the high reliance on foreign labor in specific sector could potentially lead to wage stagnation or depression for Liberian workers in similar roles, thereby impacting their economic welfare. 6.5 says erosion of public trust. The continued perception that foreign nationals are occupying jobs that Liberians can do erodes public trust in government institutions responsible for regulating the labor market and protecting national interests. Recommendation to address these issues and ensure compliance with the Decent Work Act of 2015, the Liberian Senate should consider the following recommendations for urgent consideration and action. That is in part 7. So 7.1, it says establish a joint task force with strong oversight. The task force should have a clear mandate to conduct a comprehensive independent review of all work permits issued. And I agree, with a specific focus on 7,037 jobs reserved for Liberian nationals. The task force should be empowered to investigate claims of non-compliance and recommend appropriate actions, including punitive measures where deliberate violators of violations are found. Mechanisms. implement a rigorous standardized protocol for assessing the no suitability qualified Liberians available clause, requiring employees to provide verifiable evidence of extensive recruitment effort within Liberia, including partnership with the vocational and technical training institutions and universities. Immediate review, this is 7.2, and revocation of non-compliant permits. Prioritize the immediate review of all existing work permits issued for unskilled and semi-skilled roles that Liberian nationals can demonstrably fill. In part, where it is determined that a suitably qualified Liberian was available at the time the permit issue or is not available, the corresponding foreign worker permit should be revoked following due process. This will directly free up job opportunities for Liberian citizens and send a strong signal to employees or employers about the government commitment to enforcing labor laws. 7.3 says, developing the mandate of comprehensive national job portal. Establish a robust, user-friendly, and mandatory national job portal managed by the Ministry of Labor in collaboration with the Civil Service Agency and other relevant agencies. Requirement: all employers seeking to hire foreign nationals must first post job openings on this portal for a minimum period of 6 to 8 weeks. This mandatory pre-posting period would ensure maximum exposure for Liberian job seekers and allow the ministry to monitor the availability of local talent. This portal should be created and managed by the Civil Service Agency and the Ministry of Labor. Integration: a portal should be integrated with technical vocational training centers and university career services to facilitate a streamlined process of connecting qualified Liberian graduates and skilled workers with available positions. 7.4 says, institute regular and transparent compliance audits. Implement a schedule of regular unannounced audits of employers' records to ensure strict compliance with the Decent Work Act and all work permit regulations. These audits should not only verify permit validity, but also assess the actual roles being performed by foreign workers. It says financial impact assessment. As part of these audits, evaluate the salaries and benefits of foreign workers to understand their economic implications. This data can perform the establishment of fair wage benchmarks for Liberian employees in similar positions, combating potential wage disparities. Public reporting. Publish aggregated and Thus, disaggregated result of these audits periodically to promote transparency and accountability, while maintaining the confidentiality of sensitive business information. 5. Intensify and diversify training and capacity building initiatives. These are recommendations. Launch and aggressively promote targeted national training and vocational programs designed to upskill Liberians for high-demand, high-skilled positions currently held by foreign nationals. They should include partnership with private sector companies for on-job training and apprenticeship. They should be part of a Decent Work Act. Strategic planning. Conduct a comprehensive labor market needs assessment to identify critical skills gaps and aligned educational curricula and vocational training programs with industry demands, thereby proactively preparing Liberians for future employment opportunities. Funding. Allocate sufficient government funding and actively seek international partnership support. These crucial human capacity or capital development initiatives. 7.6 says, implement public awareness campaign and employer sensitization. Develop and launch comprehensive public awareness campaigns to educate Liberian citizens about their rights and their process for reporting suspected work permit violations. Employer agreement. It says conduct regular sensitization workshops and seminars for employers, clearly outlining their obligations under the Decent Work Act, the penalties for non-compliance, and the benefits of investing in the Liberian workforce. This should emphasize the corporate social responsibilities and national development goals. 7.7 says we soon end. Foster stronger collaboration with education and training institutions. What does it mean? Finalize and strengthen partnership among the Ministry of Labor, educational institutions, including universities and colleges and vocational training centers. The outcome. This collaboration should aim to what? Align academic and vocational curricula with the evolving needs of the Liberian job market. Facilitate partnership, that's internship and practical experience for Liberian students. Create a pipeline of readily available and qualified Liberian talents, thereby reducing the perceived need for foreign labor in specific sectors. Conclusion. The findings of this report underscore the urgent need for a more robust and proactive approach to managing foreign work permits in Liberia, while recognizing the value that specialized foreign expertise can bring to national development. The employment of foreign nationals must not come at the expense of Liberian citizens' right to work and thrive in their own economy. Scrupulously implementing these recommendations outlined in the report will ensure strict adherence to existing labor laws, create a more equitable and competitive labor market for Liberians, and promote sustainable economic growth by empowering the national workforce. This collective effort will not only secure current job opportunities for Liberians, but also build a foundation for future generations, fostering a truly prosperous and self-reliant Liberians. So we conclude the report, and that is exactly what you are getting from out of the civil service agent. 7,032 jobs that should be given to Liberians. The CSA says, following all of its research and analysis on how work permits were issued where there are some foreigners for some countries are holding those work, while 7,032 Liberians who are supposed to have the jobs are working in the streets of Monrovia for those jobs. Though they have the expertise, they are qualified, those jobs are reserved for Liberians. But somebody somewhere chose not to do what is right in the interest of the country. The reason for which people bring government to power is for that government to serve in their best interest. If it is about revenue generation for which we are setting these work permits, how much do we generate from the work permit on an annual basis? Versus if Liberians are higher in the rolls and making 1,000 plus every month, and some of them paying about 100, 125 every month in taxes, and you calculate them and every month and do it on the annual basis, do you know how much we generate? I am in a state to believe that we might generate double times what we sell those work permits for. You are not just generating fund, but families connected to the employees are also benefiting from their country and from good governance. But a lot of us, it seems like we are not insensitive, but we run after our belly. So we are blinded and go unconscious. Many a times when the pit of such, magnitudes are raised. And then you see Liberian, which is stand up, especially the younger folks, to defend these things. If you don't like a particular senator, whether it's Dillon or it's Moi or some of the senators who are loud and advocating, boss man, if you don't like them, that's it. But let's look at the real picture. that debate, for me, it should be a debate that all Liberians should welcome. Because if people are going to do employment and Liberians are qualified, nobody's going to ask them, which party do you serve? Where is your party ID card? If a job came here and Trokon is qualified, no man dare ask me which party I support. The right thing should be done. If the jobs preserved for Liberians or reserved for Liberians are given and people are asking for party ID cards and party affiliation before giving these jobs, then we have a problem. Then we have to go back to speak to some of these issues. But it should be a holistic joy that people are asking for the right thing to be done. In the absence of that, we are zero. And you see people are calling for press conference, calling senators names, calling government, people who are fighting for the jobs to come back. Oh, they are fake. Oh, they're just doing it because 2029 coming. But chief, if they are even doing it for 2029 and 7,000 plus jobs come back to Liberians, for me, it's better they do it for 2029 Liberians get job than to not do it and there is no job. People are stagnated. People are starving. People are stranded. People are caught up in the web of poverty across this country. And we must be holistic. We must come together. That sense of nationalism and pride should take over us. With a few calls, I know Senator Dopo will be on his way or is already around our compound. If he's here, we're going to usher him in. It's almost 4 o'clock. But while we are waiting, we take few calls. The issue of job permits is taking center stage. And you listen to that report that I read. Hello?
Good afternoon, Trokon.
Good afternoon, sir. Let's hear you.
Just listening keenly to all your talking points. We are very, very interesting. My concern has to do with the national ID card. Yeah. You said it right. You said it right about the national ID card. Yeah, if it's done systemically, it may not be the result. So maybe that the centers got to be open, more centers got to be open and effective so that everybody can be grabbed in the system. Other than that, we're not a chief. That's my point. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you. So, Colonel, let's go to the U.S. and take Patrick Sowa. Patrick, let's hear you.
Good morning, Trokon.
Yeah, let's hear you, Patrick. Thank you for joining us.
I always buttress you because your argument is just for the people. And your analysis with respect to jobs for our people, they are suffering, they are qualified, they are competent, they got some of them are experiences but no job. It's quite correct. And we're not saying those who want to go and see it differently, having press conference, it's okay, go have your press conference, but we are saying that, hey, when you guys were in opposition, this was the same argument they took. Look at the June 7 protest. Go to the demands they listed. They said, number one, we call on President, we have to address the high cost of living. Number two, we call on President, we have to address corruption now. Number three, we call on President, we are on employment. So you're not saying anything different. We are just saying that all those things that you listed in your demands, June 7 protest, please do those things now.
Of course.
That's all we're saying. Give them job. Josiah Joker, he was in the U.S. He knows what it means to not have a job. He was working here with, I think, customer service representative, if I'm not mistaken, one, I think, global NGO. He knows what it means in America to not have a job. It's crazy. I'm not talking about Liberia. You will have no income. You will have no source how to pay your bills. So you're not saying the wrong thing. Don't be carried away by that. Bureau people will always come and counter argue your argument.
Of course.
But, give our people jobs, man.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Hello?
Good afternoon, Trokon.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Let's hear you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you too. Let me say good afternoon to the listening public. My name is Tipe S. Mato, and I do join you from my Johnsonville Bell. Yeah, Trokon, I listened to your press statement, and I think Liberians deserve to work in their country, and more precisely, where you have the resources, foreigners taking it away, and Liberians are not benefiting from it. So this work permit, I think, we the Liberians, we the cause of ourselves. Those people who were opportune to work in those sectors that bring Liberians to deprive them from jobs, I think it's bad. It's not foreigners. For me, I don't see any of us to blame foreigners. It's our own Liberian people, like the labor minister. You see,
but who gave the foreigner the permit to work? Not us Liberians. I would blame the foreigners. We didn't blame them.
But more of it, I just hear people talking about foreigners working this, that. So the place will be shared on our own people who are opportune to work to this place, to empower, to give preference to Liberians. But they are not doing it. They're looking at their own interest to benefit themselves and their family.
Okay. Thank you. Let's talk to somebody else. Hello.
Good afternoon, Trokon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Emmanuel Cordy, and I joined the conversation from my New Jersey resident, Texas.
Yes, Ibe.
Trokon, let me appreciate it so much. The issue of the work permit, other people say someone waits one thing, someone. Trokon, at least that is make waiting someone for it's better for 7,000 that going to get job. Then foreign national to kind of when you come to work, when you pass in tire, then they take work permit and give it to you. When someone goes to people and they say, they could about more and they say someone waits one thing, someone doing it more. Let me appreciate the center for bringing the issue up. You do a school work, like to be on a back, so our people can get jobs. So we're going to money like we are waiting to the others doing nothing. Increase the criminal rate and no job, no go see. So I think Kobaka, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Kobaka got the real thing when they year end. We do not renew any foreigner work permit. Let us bring a job. Let us bring a cooking job to pass time when we go working together. Like talking me passing time there. Which Liberian make a pass time in the country? Can you imagine that?
Okay.
For there's a point there in our minister.
Thank you. Let's hope it happens correctly. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Let's hear you, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, let's hear you, sir.
Thank you so much, Big Brother Trokon. Why it is true that I can just force myself to take part on your show, but you can always cut me off. But I'm not deterred by that. Big Brother Trokon, thanks for the topic on the discussion. The name remains concerned, Cabinet S. Sofana, and I do join the conversation this evening from Central Morovia. Big Brother Trokon, once again, thanks for the topic. No, this topic is so fascinating, and I think you have to dedicate 2 hours of your show time for us to just call and give our input on topic of such. Big Brother Trokon, the Liberian people in this country are suffering. There is no way to politicize that, right? Why it is true that there is my own regime, President Baka is setting his own weak ways, right, to lift people out of poverty from this country. But guess what, Big Brother Trokon? We have some people in this government who have failed to do the right thing. And this representative and senator that you can see and who coming all the time speaking, yes, it is good to speak on our behalf, but what are they doing in their own capacity? Big Brother Trokon, let me conclude by setting this example. You behind the microphone down there sitting, right? If people coming in our place, right, to come and talk and they detonate our microphone, so you be talking all the time, or you will put restriction on it, you have power on that microphone. You allow people to continuously be detonating without you coming down or putting any restriction. So that's the same with our representative and senator. They just talking, but they can't take her action.
Thank you.
There's the reality.
All right. Hello.
Trokon, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, Trokon, thank you for the show. James Yakwe from 2 Street, Trokon.
Okay.
yeah. Trokon, your talking point is very, very good when it comes to the job business in the country. For Trokon, it's a fact that we are selling in the country. We don't even value ourselves.
Of course,
how do we be that? Oh, we want job. Trokon, as you tell you what we're in the country, the common security center that people get in the country here, that wouldn't get it. Don't let people get it. As they had a teaching their brother and sister in the common security and they get in the country here.
They wanna pay each other there.
In fact, the thing we call it like is mind the money people call for 10,000 and they pay the person how to call it paying $60. One for them when anything happens to that car, they will put chain on the person waist, they tie him in the compound. That he should pay all those parts that get missing anywhere part of that compound. And even if the money he said that now one pay like different man in the net, that person will be sitting or sometimes something can happen in the manage see the kind steal from themselves. They say instigate guy here and they will tell they will put chain on that person in that compound. The person will pay more than 1,000 just working for $60. How many years that person will work for you before you do something? Most of all the security people we see is police officers, then BB top up. They don't want to get it entity in the country. They don't want to get it. See that remember under the rain, my property where there's no good facility. They say yeah, if even they give me $200. Like remember who get an entity, damn man, I will pay you $60. I'll pay you $50. No raincoat, no rain boots. So let's say the common thing you lead on one day, we want to go to how to call it a company, my people. We should swear how we settle this common thing. The common security will settle it before we go to company.
Okay.
So if you don't do it, I'm nothing.
Thank you. Hello, we understand. Senator Double will be here in 5 minutes or so. Yeah, let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Trokon.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This is Fatima and I'm phoning from my FBA from Lele.
Okay, Fatima, let's hear you.
For me, my disappointment is with the Labour Minister. I think the Labour Minister by now needs to see how best they will impose the inspectorate division and the monitoring and evaluation division of the Ministry of Labour, because we notice some unscrupulous attitude is being carried on by some workers of the Labour Ministry that are resulting to too much areas in particularly our business corridor area holding job that is friendly for Liberia. So I think the Labour Minister and the Ministry of Labour need to go back on the drawing board to see how best they can revisit some of those agreements and some of those
Thank you.
people that were given to Haitians. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. Let's talk to this person. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's hear you quickly.
So thank you. My name is Theophilus Tobe. Trokon is just one thing that I call for. It's just to dispute to join the police AG, to dispute the allegations from John Yanti. Look, this is something John Yanti that Trokon John Yanti from Nukuta. I was born in Nukuta and grew up in Nukuta. I know John Yanti from in and out. John Yanti can't refuse 200,000. Under no condition that ball can refuse 200,000. He's
a name, my man.
John Yanti is how they call it.
Boss man, this is a public radio, a national radio. You want to report in your go to Nikuta.
John Yanti, that brother, that community brother of mine.
Yeah.
That I know cannot refuse 200,000. This is a person who was given $100, the $100 to give to his friends to pay the way. John Yanti gave him change the US dollar and gave him $1,300 each.
The allegation, and then he had to defend himself.
No, but I'm telling you the thing that they're not
I will not take it of facts because nobody got to defend him. Only you talking. Why you talking?
Trokon is a reality. I just resume in a call.
Thank you. Thank you so kindly. We take a few more calls. We understand the senator is around. As soon as he reaches here, we'll usher him in the studios. So we commence our conversation 5 p.m. at the youthly chair of the CDC will join us. This is the conversation right here on OKFM 99.5. We will go for a break. And right after that break, we take Senator Dobo. I know he's already here. Once I see Blessing smiling, I mean the guest is here. She smiles. Whenever the guest is around, Blessing will smile. So that's the way you know. I don't know whether Clarence and Julius notice it. But when the guest is around, she smiles. Okay, let's take a break and be back as we usher him the senator.
Hey, they're rushing. Why are you rushing to so?
You, Judy, don't give me hard time, man. I'm going to the bank to get my cash because the bank will soon close.
You can use the ATM?
My ATM card expired ever since.
My man, you don't need ATM card. Just use the mobile app and generate an e-token. All you have to do is to just log on the app, you click on Express Cash. Then you select ATM. From there now you select Generate e-token. Then you select the account you want the money to come from. From there you select the currency that you want. If they're Liberian dollars or US dollars. Then you put in the amount that you want, whether $10 or $20, you put it in and you generate your e-token. It's simple, like 8 numbers that will come to you. When you get that number, just go to any ATM there. All you have to do is to just select the C Express Cash on the ATM now. The place where you're supposed to put your ATM pin, that's where you pull that 8 number. Then it will ask you for the amount. That money where you generated, that money will come on the ATM will pay you.
So simple. Ego Binance for me again. Oh, I will always make use of the Express service big time. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Thank you. Welcome. The senator is now in our studios and it's going to be all legislative matter. And we hope to have a frank conversation with him on some of what we've listed to talk about. Senator Dobo, welcome. It's a pleasure having you. It's been a very long time since I last interviewed you on a live show. I know I did so once, not once, about 3, 4, 5 different times when you were representative when I still work for Prime FM. But it's good having you today.
Thank you, Trokon. And let me say a big thank you to the OK family. And greetings to our listener there in Radio Lane.
You were, I don't know, I should say, loud and visible when you were representative as compared to being a senator. It's like you've taken our elder posture.
No, if you observe, in the first 2 years of being representative, we were louder. In the second 2 years, we were finding solutions. So now that we have had the experience of working in the House of Representatives, we've gone to the Senate with the experience. So with that experience, we are there to help make laws. Instead of just advocating, if you have the opportunity to make the change, you make the change. And obviously, when you follow our activities on the floor, we are there to support our colleagues' argument where necessary. We are also there to introduce our own argument, new bills, amended bills, and so forth to make the change.
How's it been like since that transition from the House to the Senate?
Well, so at the Senate, it gave you a reflection that you are working for the entire county, and therefore not just your district. So you now have the responsibility to make decisions at the general level of a county and the country. So you can work with your colleagues at the House of Representatives and then make sure that at that point you also log roll with your colleagues at the Senate to make sure that they require adjustment in policy, laws, and other oversights are done.
Is it that really huge responsibility like some of us envision it from outside? We are not inside.
Oh, it is huge because when you are talking about your county, it is not to say, oh, I'm from District 3, where I used to represent, and then so other people have to focus on District 2 or District 1 and so forth, representative. In this case, you are a senator for the county, so obviously there is no territorial boundary to say that, oh, Senator Simwe will take care of the lower bill and I take care of the upper bill.
You cut across.
You cut across. So it's a huge responsibility.
What's the working relationship between you and Senator Suboy?
Oh, it's very cool. It's very cool. I can tell you clearly, since we, even before getting at the Senate, we been working together, and that relationship is better off now.
Great. Let's go into the real issues for which you fear. When I earlier on said you are not loud like you were in the House, I was talking about the days when you were a member of the Independent Legislative Caucus. You would be scrutinizing buffer chambers with the legs of fencing within the rest of the guys. But at the Liberian Senate, you've been quiet, but seems to be working hard on the grounds, evidenced by some of the information we have before us. You've been very instrumental with several bills, whether you are the one proposing them or you are sponsoring them or you are in support line, but you've been very instrumental. The first to deal with is the amendment to Section 200 of the Liberia Revenue Code on personal income tax table. What is that? Give us an understanding of what it is. You've been in the financial sector.
Yes. So, before I came earlier, you were talking about the issue of the labor and the revenue issue. And obviously, the action that will be taken in relation to the labor permit will actually reduce revenue. It is good that the public know that indeed it's going to reduce revenue.
Right.
And that is not a bad thing because it's going to reduce revenue at the greater good of the Liberian workforce. The same is going to happen with the issue of this legislation that I am proposing along with my co-sponsors. So the Section 200 of the Revenue Code talks about the PRT table, that the personal income tax. Now, so individual worker at the end of the month, they have to pay tax, and the taxes are calculated on the basis of their income, their annual income in Liberian dollars.
Okay.
Now, in 2009, just at the, I would say, the climax of the financial crisis, President Salif constituted a committee to come up with a new PRT table as a form of a stimulus package to see how we can increase the disposable, meaning the take-home pay of the ordinary workers. So when that table was done, the table was adjusted from 8 bands to about 4 bands, meaning to say that 4 different categories. So the exchange rate at the time was between the 64 Liberian dollar to 70 Liberian dollar, to $1 US. So the understanding was that the average domestic worker, the average unskilled worker, were earning far below 70,000 per annual. Therefore, it was important to exempt them from paying taxes as a way of increasing the take-home pay for them. So with that, then the standard deduction that was done on that table for all category was 70,000 Liberian dollars. So anybody earning per annual 70,000 Liberian dollars below, you are exempt from taxes. Or if you are earning above the excess of that 70,000, it is the one that you pay tax on.
Okay.
Now, as we know today, Liberia have a dual currency, regime where we have the US dollar along going side by side with the Liberian dollars. Now, the fact that we have inflation over a period of time, we have devaluation of the Liberian currency, that is to say the Liberian dollar, the rate have been going up, like we call it. There should have been an adjustment every year when the kind of inflation or devaluation occur. So
to commensurate
the intent of the law.
Okay.
That was done since 2011 up to this time.
It's been long.
A long time. So when you observe, now individuals who were making like $1,080 per year, or let's say making $90 US per month, okay, which when you calculate around maybe $1,000 per year, those individuals, by the intent of the law at the time, should not have been paying taxes. But today, when you convert $1,000 US to Liberian dollars, you're around 200,000 or 190,000. So it put them into.
So you pass the 70,000.
Obviously, so it put them into a tax category. So obviously, instead of carrying their pay who now they are paying taxes. Then people who were in the 5% tax category, because the exchange rate now, say you are making maybe 1,500 a year or 1,000, let's say 1,500 a year, and now you are around maybe the By the exchange rate, 300,000 and so forth, it puts you into another tax category. Maybe you're in the 15% tax category. People who were in the 5% tax category, because the exchange rate to somebody have gone to the 25% tax category. You get it clear? So they are more tax cut from the salary.
So what do you intend to do?
So the intent of the law is to bring us back to the intent of Section 200 when it was passed in 2009, and then they talk passed in the amendment in 2011. That indeed they adjust.
Okay.
They adjust. So we'll be adjusting by to say anyone earning. We are proposing that anyone earning 210,000 annually, should now be in the same category as though they are paying no tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it goes back to the intent.
It goes back to the intent.
Okay.
So in that case, people take home pay will be restored. That's what we are saying. People will not carry back. Because even if you add $20 on the employee salary, it doesn't still help to that intent, because the man still going to pay tax on it. As compared to if you restore, obviously you know that those who will be paying, who are making $210,000, they will not be paying taxes. In this case, if they are making $210,000, they are paying tax on about 18, let's say 130, around $140,000 is being taxed for that money, because the law say the excess of or 70,000. So they are being taxed 5% on that 140,000. But if you restore them to the status quo, obviously they won't have to pay tax. They will take that tax amount back to the home.
The change or the adjustment you're talking about could promote economic growth while reducing income inequality. So
it's going to help reduce inequality, because in tax economics, obviously a dollar loss from a rich man is almost like 1,000 gain to the poor man. Obviously. So if you help to adjust the tax table, the people down the ladder, okay, who are domestic workers, who are working in people's homes and other things, they shouldn't be paying taxes. The casual labor who are making far below $100 or $90, they shouldn't be paying taxes. They can take that money home. They can use the money to even help to pay the children tuition instead of coming to a politician or other people to be asking them for money.
So what might happen is it reduces revenue generation, and then for the greater good of the people who are low earners.
By mathematics, okay? By mathematics, it reduces revenue generation.
But it's good for the low earners.
But in practice, it won't. When I say, what do I mean when I say in practice? So there are so many other measures.
Yeah.
Okay? They are there. There's some other measure. First of all is the tax authority will have to enforce further. Now, some I could propose that, you know what? It is possible that we will lose up to $50 million if we use this
new measure.
If we do this adjustment.
Yeah.
But don't you know that it'd be unfair that $50 million each year is taken from Liberian people or residents of Liberia because the intent of the law is not met? That's unfair. So when you enforce further, for example, in the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Labor had a lot of responsibility to help us generate more revenue. How? The law provides for the establishment of a minimum wage board. Now, when that minimum wage board is established, the board will be able to establish in each category of the workforce what is the minimum wage for each category of the workforce. Today, as it is, because they say minimum wage is around $146, almost all of the companies that file their taxes to the LRA, they will pay almost all the employees $146. Okay? Yeah, I don't know how to do that. So obviously, once the Ministry of Labor come up with the board and sell the various accountants in the country, the minimum wage for the accountants in the country, she says, let's say example, say $600.
Yeah, $600.
Let's say the minimum wage for director is around maybe $2,000. Okay, with that kind of category, the LRA can leverage on it and make sure that people are taxed properly. The rightful people are taxed properly. So there are so many ways we can regain that.
Okay.
Yeah, another one is that we also move into VAT, value added. This is how you're going to calculate it. Now, income tax, when I pay income tax, the money that left with me, I use it for consumption, to consume, okay? So I also pay consumption tax because I engage into services. I go to the restaurant, I eat, I drink beer, I drink water, I pay tax on that. So if I have more money to spend left with me,
more tax.
I will pay more tax. So that tax will be captured
I have a fair understanding of that. The Real Property Tax Administration Act of 2024 is one you are dealing with. It seeks to streamline the administration of real property taxes by transferring responsibilities to local authorities. What do we stand to benefit?
Yeah, I would just because of time, I will just speak a little on that because that we didn't put on the floor.
It's not yet on the floor.
Yeah, the reason is that the budget law try to control for that. There's a level of decentralization process going on now with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Land Authority, and local government. So that was the intent of that law, to make sure that the property tax administration is turning over to the local government so that they can enforce, they can collect, and they can use the money for their own development. That's a decentralization. You can say you decentralize, then the local people, the cities, they don't collect their own revenue. So there are certain kind of taxes by the local government
should leave with
the local people. So that was the intent for that. But that because of the
is it the same as the revenue sharing bill?
Yeah, it's part of implementing the revenue sharing law. So that the Ministry of Finance have done a regulation already. So we thought not to present that on the floor until otherwise.
What is this Rent Control Act?
That is a very, very critical one. You see, over the period of time, I served as principal director at the Ministry of Finance for real estate. I've had a lot of interaction in terms of revenue engagement and how tenants, and landlords and landladies interact. There are two main kind of arbitrary actions in our rental market. Today, for example, you're in a house and the landlord, after you have paid some money, and the landlord comes to you and say, "Oh, Trokon, or tomorrow, next month, when you leave my place because I got people coming in." That is unfair. You move to the area, you have planned your life, everything, and then somebody just come and say tomorrow, that's my
arbitrarily like
that. Good, obviously. Or you start paying your rent, then the next month he comes and say, "Oh, I'm increasing my rent." Sometimes the value of the rent is not consistent with the kind of amenities. Good, obviously. So the market is kind of self-regulated, and that is wrong. That is wrong. Because it's not like buying a cassava. Renting is a habitation. So in 2013, the UN Habitat did a report and they indicated that Liberia has no rental policy. Okay, no rental policy, no law guarding anything in rent.
Up to now, we don't have.
No, we don't have that. So we need to have a law from which a regulation can be created, and then from that regulation you have a policy. That's why we are proposing the Rent Control Act. It is not for us to go and say rent owner, you must charge the amount. No, the National Housing Authority, which will be hosting that bureau, okay, will be the one that comes with regulation, do a study, a scientific study to determine what is required, okay, and how tenants are protected. At the same time, too, how landlords and landladies are also protected. It's not just about, today people come to your place, they won't pay your rent, and they leave.
So it's about their security, the tenants and the...
Both have to be protected. And that will also help government to collect revenue. Because there are a lot of people who are paying rent, and then the law provided they should withhold. But when they want to withhold the money from the landlord, they say, "Well, you try it next time, you'll not be in my house." so obviously they are not, and then they are forced to go pay it to the LRA.
Okay.
Yes.
So the idea is, what do we do there?
So that's why we need that bureau within the housing authority that will be able to first establish regulation to determine, because rent
and
is
then all of what needed will be
inscribed into it, because rent is a function of value of the property.
Okay.
So obviously, and they also track, we know who living where, how they move from one point to the other. In other jurisdictions, if you move from one house to go to another house, you can have a reference. Okay, so some people got bad behavior. Okay, so the market because when we do that, then we'll have an active real estate market in Liberia.
If you're just joining us, a reminder, you're listening to the conversation. We are here with the Senator Francis Dopo of Wrepue County, and we are looking at some of the works he's doing at the Liberian Center with respect to some of the bills he have, on the floor, and some are yet to get on the floor, but there are discussions around then. We were just talking about the Rent Control Act of 2024. So within that, the bureau that will be set up, controlled by the Housing Authority, I'm looking forward to see if somebody's paying $100 for rent per month, the government has 10, 15, or 20% on that. I'm looking forward to see such a thing.
No, it's important because it's a burden on the tenants. Because people come and collect their rent and they go on. Now, when the government say you get a shop and you print it for somebody, okay, and then the car collect the money and he's gone. Then the tax authority come to you
then
and say, well, you should have withheld from the man. You say, but if I want to do it, the man will take me from the shop because you're not protected. Okay, so part of the regulation that will come out of the law is to make sure that indeed that the people, the tenants are protected. Yes, they are protected. So if I withhold from you, you can't come tomorrow and tell me, say, I can leave your place because I implement government policy. So there are a lot of things that they have.
That's a very big idea because it's rampant. Somebody in the shop, if you're paying rent, the LRA can, you got to pay this tax and SYC.
Obviously.
And okay, let's come to demurrage income tax amendment of 2024. What does that mean?
Okay, so we're talking about fair share. There will be a lot of decisions that will be taken by the legislature working with the executive, and some of those decisions will may ought to lose revenue, and some of them may ought to be able to capture those lost revenue. One of it has to do with
you're closing other holes and all
obviously the demurrage issue is this. What is demurrage in the first place? So the ships that come to Liberia, okay, they are on a charter, for example. So the shipping line charter the ship, they bring them, the charter the containers. Now, that charter fee, okay, that is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about now is that when the ship berth, okay, and the cargoes are removed, the containers are taken out, the shipping line charge you each day for the time given you that you have not cleared your container. So you pay demurrage. Besides the storage you pay at APM terminal, you also pay demurrage to the shipping agent. Okay, so when I container stay with you for maybe 20 days, 50 days, whatever the case, you pay every day.
They charge you per day.
Charge you. That particular money you pay as a Liberian or a resident in this country, the way the law is carved in Liberia, it say it's not a source income.
Really?
Yes. So we are saying no. We have to adjust the law. That is a source income. It's paid by Liberian, paid by resident. So you are charging us. It's a form of rent for holding your container. That you call it penalty.
If you are even passing through.
And collecting the money here. So we are saying to you, no, that is not a fair thing. It's not fair tax.
So you mean we haven't been collecting?
We haven't been collecting revenue from that. So we are pushing that.
People reach you.
Obviously. So we are pushing that, and let our people have no fear. It has nothing to do with increasing the rent on your container. No. It is
those who collect from you.
Those who collect from you, the law going to now say, hey, that the moment you collect from our citizen or the resident here, or 15% of that money should go back to the government. You can't just take the money from our people and take it back. So they're not going to increase. They're not going to add additional to you. No, it is the amount you've been paying.
We could raise a lot of revenue from this.
Obviously.
What's the status of it now?
So these bills are now in committee room. But Tuesday we're going to start discussion on those bills. Obviously, we have about 9. Some of the bills that we have are 9 co-sponsors. Some of the sponsors are the Daba Vapla, or Darren Dillon, Antoine, Nimini Batikwa, or Johnny Way. I mean, for different bills that are sponsored, I have a lot of co-sponsors on them.
Okay, let's move further. Time is running. Let's talk about the Export Proceeds Repatriation Act of 2024. In this write-up, it says the Act mandates the timely repatriation of export proceeds to strengthen the national economy. How do you explain that so the laymen have an understanding and what the benefits
Good. So when we say export proceeds, we're saying that now we have our extractive, our gold, our diamond, our iron ore, okay, whatever mineral we have. People come to the country, they come with huge investment. When they come with the investment, we give them duty-free, we give them tax holiday, tax waiver. Say, don't pay tax because while you come to employ Liberian, you begin investment in our country. You know the story of the famous 16 billion investment, for example. Now, we have all the local banks. Some of the banks came into Liberia because they feel that investment were coming here and they could be able to benefit from the investment services. But then why do people enjoy all these tax holidays and these duty-free? When they sell the gold and the diamond, they leave the money overseas. They don't bring the money back into our banks. They leave it there. The money for them, we agree. But the resources from us, we need to benefit from foreign reserve. We need to benefit from foreign currency because we have a dual regime. So why would you? Then we also have banks that are here that also need to benefit from services that they offer. But yet, you only, after you enjoy all the tax holiday and duty-free, you sell the gold and diamond, and you only bring in the one you should pay salary with. and pay taxes. The rest of the money stay overseas. So one, it's difficult for us to track what is the actual consideration on the sale you make for our resources. Two, what is it? What benefit it is to us for our foreign reserve or our foreign currency transaction? So we are saying to you, hey, the commercial banks are here, the central bank is here. When you make your sale within 15 days and you receive that money, transfer it to the local banks here.
All the money
that money will stay in the local banks